Hey there, this is Matt at State of Flux here with a review for Return of the Killer Tomatoes. But first, I'd like to draw your attention to a film journal that I published. This is State of Flux's 31-day film challenge. It's a horror movie challenge specifically, with spooky season coming up. What you get are 31 film prompts, challenges to watch, like a movie that made over $100 million. This is asking you to take a look at a $100 million box office earner from the horror genre and really dive deep in it. You will be asked 6 questions. 3 of them will be the same across the board for all 31 challenges. 3 will be unique. So what works, what doesn't, and who made it are your standard questions. But then you have a unique one, such as what horror films should have had the success this one did, but never found it. If you like movie challenges and like to sort of critically analyze and engage with the media that you watch, I really hope you check this out. It's available through Amazon. You can track that through the link down in the description. Moving on to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 2, also known as Return of the Killer Tomatoes. This is a movie that shockingly has very little tomato action. I think that's the biggest criticism I can throw at this movie is there's almost no tomatoes in it outside of FT, which stands for fuzzy tomato. There's like a mutant tomato in this one that's not like one of the killer tomatoes. It's a good tomato that's all fuzzy and he's a cute little puppet that runs around and stuff like that. Other than that, there's virtually no tomatoes in that, and that's because there's a mad scientist named Dr. Gangrene who is turning tomatoes into people that kind of look like Rambo, or beautiful playmate models. And yeah, that's kind of just the basic premise of the film. Dr. Gangrene, you find out, was behind the attacks on of the Killer Tomatoes in the first film, even though he was not referenced in any way in that film. You find out he's behind everything, and he's changed his plan 12 years later, or 10 years later, blank time later. This movie is wild because I kind of hated it until I didn't, and grew to really like it. The first half hour is damn near unwatchable, genuinely just truly terrible. The second half hour kind of picks up, and I started to get bemused by it a little bit. There's a really strong running gag with product placement, which was so bad up until that point that it was like so bad it was noticeably bad. You'd have things like, if there was peanut butter, it would say pea butter, and you're like, is that supposed to be a funny joke? It's not really, and I get that they couldn't get like Jiffy to sponsor this movie, but the art department could have done something better, and it's like on printed paper that's like practically taped onto the peanut butter thing. Then one of the characters says, this movie's really lacking in production. I think we can save the budget by getting product placement in this movie, and it's probably the strongest running gag throughout the feature. That really kind of amused me through the middle portion of the movie until I got to the last half hour of the movie, which I really quite liked. It came around on itself in a really smart and unique and interesting way. And I can't say that I fully liked this movie because that first half hour is so bad. Had I not committed to watching it for you glorious audience folk, I would have stopped that movie. But that just goes to show that you can't judge a movie by the first 30 minutes. Even if it's a bad 30 minutes, movie can come around on itself, and this movie has a pretty solid final 45 minutes. So, yeah. There's also one laugh out loud joke about China Closet that made me giggle profusely. This movie's kind of famous for starring George Clooney pre-ER, pre-Roseanne even. And George Clooney, when you watch this movie, is obviously a movie star. Like, he has the most charisma of anybody on screen, and that includes John Astin, who's playing Dr. Gangrene, who was a very well-established actor at that point. But you can see even early on that Clooney had that magic thing. But he's not the only good performance in the movie. I think the main 3 stars are quite good, Clooney being one of them. The Playboy playmate who is a tomato in the film is actually quite good and has some good comedic timing. The lead actor is very over the top, but it works for this movie. It has ties to the first movie with other characters getting brought back into the fold, some more successfully than others. But it's a solid watch. I give it a very generous 3 stars, but honestly this is probably a 2.5-star movie. If you really like the first one, you can commit to it, but it's not the same sense of humor. The sensibility and the style of humor changed. And while I felt the first one very much felt like Airplane, just right before Airplane happened, this doesn't feel like Airplane in any way. The humor is its kind of own thing. It almost feels more Mad TV than Airplane, but I had a decent time with it. If it's still free streaming on Tubi, give it a check. That's how I watched it, and I will be hitting you with a review for Killer Tomatoes Strike Back. We will see how that goes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my film journal through Amazon in the link below. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.